Live from the largest news team on the Central Coast with important local coverage. This is KCOY 12 Central Coast News at 6 o'clock.
500 acres and still burning. Tonight, we're monitoring a developing story at 6, a brush fire at Camp Roberts in northern San Luis Obispo County. Good evening, I'm Scott Hennessy. Melissa is on assignment. The fire broke out at 2:30 this afternoon. No structures are threatened, but firefighters are still concerned. KCOY 12's Keith Carls is live on the scene with the very latest.
Well, Scott, we are here along the western portion of 10th Street, which is west of San Miguel, which is about as close as we're going to get to the fire lines, which are, as you can see behind me, out on the base at Camp Roberts. Now, as you mentioned, the fire did start around 2:30. We have not heard about how the fire started or exactly where it started, but it appears to be burning on the southeastern portion of Camp Roberts, several miles from the nearest residences. They're mostly horse ranches and vineyard homes in this area, but the winds have strengthened considerably since we first reported this fire at 5 o'clock. They're gusting now from a northwest to a southeast direction, and that is definitely helping fan the flames and fuel the fire, which is burning in thick, dry brush, as you can see out there on the base, in canyons, along riverbeds. Everything out there is extremely dry, so the fire has free reign to burn where the wind is going to take it. We've been told that Camp Roberts Fire Department is being aided by San Miguel Volunteer Fire Department, as well as resources from CAL FIRE. We have seen aircraft in the air. We do not know if they're making any drops, either of retardant or water, but we have seen aircraft in the air over the fire. And again, right now, no structures are threatened, but the fire is burning in a direction toward the residential areas. And again, as I've mentioned, the fire is being fueled by the dry brush, but by these winds. And again, they have been strengthened considerably. I think we're getting a shot right now of a tanker over the fire. We don't know if that tanker is actually going to be making a drop. Those tankers are, by the way, are stationed out at Paso Robles Airport, which is just due east of us. So that would be a very strategic location for fighting this fire in the air. On the ground, we can only imagine that there are hand crews, bulldozers, and that type of thing taking place. Now, what we can also tell you is that right now there does not appear to be any general concern from the people who live in these horse ranches and vineyard areas that are east of the fire and southeast of the fire that we've spoken to. But again, you know, we all know that wildfires have a life and a direction of their own, especially when they're being fueled and driven by winds like this. So we'll be out here for most of the evening, and we'll keep you posted on any new developments. But right now, the important thing is no structure is threatened and about 500 acres or so burned. Reporting live in west of San Miguel in northern San Luis Obispo County near Camp Roberts, Keith Carls, KCOY 12 Central Coast News.
And for the latest with the weather conditions as they relate to that fire, let's go to the First Alert Weather Center and our meteorologist, Jason Stiff.
Yes, and as Keith was alluding to, unfortunately, it's not improving. It's getting a little bit worse. The temperature in Paso Robles, just a little bit south of where this fire is actually hotter than it was an hour ago. Now, Terry, we had a 95-degree high. It was 91 at 5 o'clock. It's now 92, and the wind a little bit stronger, 15 with gusts to 20. The humidity is lower. It's down to 16%. About an hour ago, it was up over 20%. We're not going to have much in the way of marine layer for quite some time. By early tomorrow morning, there will be some areas of fog, but it's going to be tougher to get it closer to the Camp Roberts area. Most of it should be near Paso Robles. Overnight lows will be dropping down to the 50s. We do expect the low clouds and fog to push into the central coast and the south coast again tonight, as we had it just last night and early this morning. Can't rule out a little bit of patchy drizzle, but not a good chance of that near this fire. So overnight tonight, still more of the marine layer pushing on shore, low clouds and fog with most lows in the 50s. More details on what we can expect all the way through the middle of next week in my First Alert weather forecast.
Thanks, Jason. A big decision tonight could end strict water cutbacks in our state. Within the last hour, the Water Control Board has approved a plan dropping statewide conservation efforts. Instead, 400 individual water districts will be allowed to come up with their own water conservation rules based on supply and demand. Water districts supported the move. We will have much more on the decision tonight on KCOY 12 News at 11. Don't close those doors just yet. There is a recommendation in front of the Santa Barbara County Supervisors to save the jail in Santa Maria from budget cuts. Santa Maria police say it cannot afford to have fewer officers on patrol. They say this is a good sign that for now the jail is saved from budget cuts. There was talk of it shutting down because of tight budgets within the county. Neighbors like Bob Chapin say it needs to stay open.
Well, that makes all of us less safe. It's 2.5-hour drive, and that's just driving.
And that's a lot of time that officers are out of the city where they could be providing law enforcement services. And that's with the jail partially open the way it is now.
The next budget hearing is in June. That's when supervisors will make their final decision on funding. Supervisors say the jail is still in potential jeopardy. It may or may not be funded. Now to an update on a dog killed after being thrown from a moving truck in Orchid. Charges have been filed against one juvenile and one adult. They are both expected in court next month. Animal groups rallied for Davy, raising over $8,000 to help catch the people responsible. Their identities have not yet been released. It's the project that may be built after all. The Lompoc City Council has voted to reconsider its stance on the creation of a motorsports park. KCOY 12's Amanda Valdez is in Lompoc to explain what happened. Amanda?
Scott, just a few minutes ago, I got off the phone with council member Victor Vega. He was the swing vote last night. He tells us he changed his mind after the Motorsports Park Committee came up with additional money for the project.
The crowd went up in cheers, so it was great. Everybody came together, and it's very encouraging for me. I mean, it's like the project is re-energized.
The proposed motorsports project in Lompoc has new life.
They did vote positively for a reconsideration of the project, so this is a big step to turning that vote around and keeping things going.
Less than 1 week after the Lompoc City Council decided to end their involvement with the proposed motorsports project.
City Council decided that we were going to not give any more money to the motorsports park. We were going to stop it at $120,000.
A swing vote by council member Victor Vega at Tuesday night's City Council meeting put it back up for reconsideration.
This is too important to let it die. And so that's why everyone came together last night, was to be there to show the council that this can't die. This is too important.
Council member Vega originally voted to stop the city's involvement with the controversial project. That has residents in Lompoc concerned over the noise and pollution it could cause.
What I suggested is if they could build it more out between Lompoc and Buellton. I think it's a great idea to have something like that where they can bring in income for Lompoc, but again, it's too close.
But last night, Vega changed his mind, putting the project back up for review at the next City Council meeting.
We'll have another staff report, bring up all the information again, and at that point, we will decide whether we want to continue with the project, continue with the CEQA review, continue with the NEPA review, and continue with the airport master plan.
And the Motorsports Park Committee tells us since the project was voted down last week, they've had an outpouring of support and have been able to raise more than $25,000 for the project. In Lompoc, I'm Amanda Valdez, KCOY 12 Central Coast News.
And another important meeting still to come. Amanda, thanks very much. 1 week after fire destroyed the home of a Camarillo couple, they remain hospitalized. The husband, James Milton, is in stable condition. His wife, Joanne, is critical but stable and being treated for burns on her body. The fire broke out last Wednesday while the couple was taking a nap in their Leisure Village home.
The dog is completely the one that saved his life. He didn't hear the smoke alarms and didn't smell the smoke until his puppy jumped on him and repeatedly barked in his face until he woke up. I firmly believe they can come back here and be happy once it is rebuilt, but we've got a long road ahead of us.
It's unknown what sparked the fire. The family did not have home insurance and has started a GoFundMe page to help get the couple back on their feet. You can find a link to it on our website, KCOY.com. Coming up on Central Coast News at 6, 2 schools get put on lockdown after a bear is spotted roaming on campus. The latest on the bear hunt. And racers took off from Morro Bay in the annual Amgen bike race. Dave Alley gives us a look at this morning's start from Morro Bay. Stay with us. Many of the world's top cyclists continued their ride through the Central Coast today with the Tour of California beginning Stage 4 in Morro Bay. KCOY 12's Dave Alley was there this morning and shows us what made this stop so special for America's premier bike race.
4, 3, 2, 1.
With Morro Rock as the dramatic backdrop, the Tour of California Stage 4 was off and pedaling.
It was really exciting to be here firsthand and to witness just all the energy and feel the commotion about it.
Fans came out in big numbers, giving cyclists an enthusiastic send-off.
Lots of hoopla, lots of show, lots of noise, lots of bikes. A lot of people.
Something cool before the race, the fans are getting to interact with the riders themselves, getting autographs, taking pictures. It's access you don't typically see at a lot of major sporting events.
Well, that's part of the awesome part about bicycle riders. They're really friendly and they're just guys that work really hard at what they do. Probably the top athlete in the world.
This marked the first time Morro Bay played host to the 11-year-old bike race.
Morro Bay was on top of our list in SLO County, one of the few cities that we haven't visited here. Just something unique that you will not see anyplace else in California.
The start was just the beginning of a 135-mile ride, the tour's longest.
They're just machines. If you can ride a bike 100, 150 miles a day, that's just unbelievable.
Perhaps making the ride more enjoyable, a scenic trek north on Pacific Coast Highway.
And it's hard to look around, but I mean, hopefully today at the beginning, you know, on the one, you'll be able to look around, see the views a little bit.
What fans saw here was world-class action right in Morro Bay. Dave Alley, KCOY 12, Central Coast News.
Stage 4 finished this afternoon at the Laguna Seca Raceway in Monterey. Defending champion Peter Sagan of Slovakia captured the stage victory, his second win through the first 4 days. And they had nice conditions to ride bicycles through the Central Coast today. Let's go to the First Alert Weather Center. Jason has a forecast for us.
Yeah, nice and mild close to the coast. You get further inland, and it was a different story. Much hotter now around both Morro Bay and Pismo Beach. We had a high today of 58 degrees. That was the low this morning in Santa Barbara, where the high was 70. It was only 67 in Lompoc, 79 in San Luis Obispo, Paso Robles. Oh, it was 95 this afternoon. It's still 92. Santa Maria, a lot more moderate than that. 71 degrees was today's high. The average 69, so it's not very warm, but not very cold either. We have the low clouds already pushing on shore, only about 800 to 900 feet off the ground. 61 degrees. The wind northwest at 9 miles an hour. But as you can see, Paso, by far the hottest place around the coast. It's 55 right now in Morro Bay, but 92 after that 95-degree high in Paso Robles. Still a mild 61 in Lompoc and 64 degrees in Santa Barbara. Even Goleta is only 59 right now. Most of the wind at or below 15 miles an hour, but in Paso Robles sustained at 15 and gusts to 20. And unfortunately, where we had that fire near Camp Roberts, we also have the driest air in the region. A lot of that humidity, less than 20%. But we have more active weather in the southern tier of states from Arizona and New Mexico eastward all the way toward North Carolina. We have some rain and thunderstorms, but particularly active in the southeastern quarter of New Mexico, pushing into the areas just north of Lubbock and getting closer to Amarillo, Texas. As we look to our north, here comes our next trough of low pressure. It's going to be pushing southward right toward California in the coming days, and that is going to actually accentuate how much of the low cloudiness and areas of fog we receive over the coming days. We will still have some sunshine at times, but it's going to get less and less as we get closer to the weekend. We expect more of the low clouds and fog tonight through tomorrow morning. You can see on Futurecast, some spotty drizzle is not out of the question tomorrow morning. Not much is going to occur. It's actually a little bit more likely by the time we get to Friday morning when we have more of the moisture moving our direction. Again, most places probably won't even have measurable precipitation, just a little bit of drizzle falling out of the low clouds. We'll have some afternoon sunshine, but as Saturday and Sunday approach, we expect even more clouds and slightly cooler temperatures. Here's your forecast for Thursday. A gray beginning to the day, and the sky is already turning pretty gray as it is. 53 degrees for a low in Santa Maria with a high of 68. We'll also have a high of 68 in Orcutt, but up to 75 in Santa Ynez. Paso Robles, you are not going to be 95 degrees tomorrow, which is probably going to be welcome relief for most everybody. 80 degrees for a high under a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky. We'll have a high of 72 in San Luis Obispo, struggling just to get to 60 in Pismo Beach. For the south coast, more clouds than the central coast, both in the morning and in the afternoon. A high of 72 in Santa Barbara after a mild 58-degree low. The next 7 days in Santa Maria and Orcutt, not much is changing, and the highs almost every day will be at or below average for this time of year. Between 65 and 70 degrees, a little bit of drizzle can't be ruled out, but not much is going to fall. San Luis Obispo, upper 60s and lower 70s tomorrow through next Wednesday. No great chances for measurable rain, but we will have below average temperatures. For Paso Robles, even here it will be cooler. 80 degrees for a high tomorrow with a little bit more sunshine, but thankfully it will cool off back into the 70s beginning on Friday.
All right, thank you, Jason. Still ahead on KCOY 12 News at 6. A wandering bear keeps students at 2 California schools in their classrooms. Now, this guy was finally corralled. But first in sports, Oakland A's slugger Chris Davis continues to flex his muscles. Mike Clan has the highlights next.
Day 2 of the NAIA opening round national tournament in baseball. Westmont hosting fellow GSAC member the Masters, and it was all about pitching and defense. Warrior shortstop Andrew Devian going to start a 6-4-3 double play. Moved to the second inning, Westmont loads the bases with 1 out, but the Warriors do not score as the Masters turn the inning-ending double play. And, hey, more defense for you. Westmont catcher Jarrett Costa with a snap throw to first, and the runner is out. However, the Warriors left 8 men on base today, plus a bad call in the 8th inning cost them a run at the plate. Westmont loses 1-0. They're going to have to win 3 straight games to advance to the College World Series. Well, in the majors, Oakland's Chris Davis homers again. He had 3 last night, including a game-winning grand slam in the 9th. Today, a solo shot in the 6th. A's win 8-1. That's sports.
Two Orange County schools are back open after a wandering bear put them on lockdown. The bear was spotted sitting in a tree on the east side of the schools. Fish and wildlife officials eventually tranquilized the bear and plan to release him into the wild.